Ladies and gentlemen, children of the interwebs out there, Sebastian Envy, strong style. It's a file in Stargirl, Chapter 8. Yet another just example of why this is the best superhero show going today. So let's geek about it for a scant few minutes. Now, in this episode, it was a Beth and Rick simultaneous focus episode. Last episode was more Yolanda. We see how she was dealing with some of the stuff she was going through as far as like Brainwave and Brainwave Jr. and the fallout from that and just its effect on her, which ultimately led to her, thanks to Eclipso, quitting the team. In this episode, we see her actually drop the Wildcat suit back off with Courtney, who Courtney is just trying to figure out how she can help Yolanda. Yolanda's her best friend, and now she's not talking to her. And she just feels bad about dragging her into this whole JSA thing and kind of leading things to the way they are. And Pat kind of tells her, you got to give her some time, give her some space, and just, let her figure things out for herself, come back around. So that's kind of where it leaves with Yolanda. With Rick, you have his teacher show up on his doorstep, kind of apologize for thinking what she thought about him cheating, and gives him some information on college, stuff like that, and kind of tells him that college is a place where, I could start over when people thought certain things about me or didn't think I could be this or didn't think I could be that. It allowed me to start over and be somebody, be who I wanted to be. Of course, his uncle is still a dick and says he's going to be in jail before he ever goes to college. Then you see Rick continuing to feed Solomon Grundy, befriending Grundy, and just kind of feeling bad for Grundy and kind of understanding through this story that he relays about a dog that his uncle adopted and tried to turn into a fighting dog. He took the dog away to a different town, to a different family. Turned out to be a totally different dog. Dog got love and affection and a family, and it just made all the difference. The whole nature versus nurture thing with dog. I'm a huge dog lover, and I love pits. And I know the bad rap that breed gets. I was raised to not like pits. But I had one. I love them. That's the dogs I seek to have now is pits. I just love them. They're amazing dogs, but it's just about how you treat them. So with Grundy, it's about how you treat him. Rick's trying to treat him better and to just kind of just make a better Grundy as best he can with this, huge walking monster-looking, Frankenstein-looking dude. And we see kind of a knock on the show and the production value and stuff because certain stuff like CG on a television scale budget doesn't exactly fare well in the daylight. That's why a lot of the CG stuff you see on these superhero shows, the monsters attack stuff, be it your Metallo or your King Shark or your Gorilla Grodd or this or that, happens at night because it's easier to hide some of the imperfections of the budget that they're given. But it is what it is. You just kind of it's not quite Warehouse 13 CG. If you've ever seen Warehouse 13, you will understand every time I say something is Warehouse 13 type of CG. It's not that. It's not great either, but it is what it is. It's just what we got to deal with. There's a girl that apparently goes missing. There's a bear attack. Rick launches into action thinking it's Grundy, thinking he has to save Grundy from it. Then he thinks Grundy is actually the one that did it. He attacks Grundy. Turns out it was Eclipso. When Rick got whammied, who knows? Some people were speculating on some of the boards that I go to that it was when he got back in his car and listened to the report on the radio about this bear and these hunters showing up. So were the hunters even real? Was Grundy even real when he encountered him where the girl was? Who knows? That's the greatness of Eclipso, how he's just hitting these emotional fault lines of these characters to make them kind of give up. He's just trying to tear them down and just tear down any possible opposition to whatever it is his grand plan is going to be. At the end, you see Rick beating on who he thinks is Grundy. Turns out it's his uncle. It takes Court blasting him with the staff to kind of make him see, break the haze and break the vision, make him see what he did, and he ends up breaking the hourglass. And then he gets carted off to jail. You see Grundy kind of watching it happen, and then Grundy remarks friend to Rick. So some people kind of speculate. I'm wondering myself, is Grundy going to break Rick out of jail? How's Rick going to get out of jail to then come back together to deal with Eclipso? He broke the hourglass, so is he going to redo the hourglass? Is the formula going to get remade? Is there going to be a different sort of method to use the formula? Is it going to be like gauntlets or some other tool taken directly from the comics that kind of changes things? Some people were kind of speculating maybe they wanted to get away from having the actor have this clunky like hourglass around his neck or whatever. Who knows if that was the reason or not? But there is no more Hour Man, and Rick is in jail, so remains to be seen kind of how things happen with that. With Beth, we see her parents come home, want to talk to her about the divorce. They bring in food, but it turns out again it's Eclipso, and then Beth ends up going to Courtney's house, encountering Eclipso. Eclipso's this racist, sexist, misogynistic jerk. She sees different visions of this kid Eclipso, of the JSA, and just Eclipso's trying to drive home this point that like Courtney chose Yolanda, the staff chose Courtney, Rick was chosen by his father, more or less. He like stole the goggles, and then she kind of hides all her pain and fear behind this smile that she continuously puts out to people, and just trying to break her down that way. And then you see kind of Beth rise above that and kind of show this confidence and this strength that she has underneath the smile, underneath the facade. There's a much stronger individual, not physically strong, which a lot of us have knocked her on this show from the get-go with her, the idea of her being Dr. Midnight, because she's not physically strong, but there's a strength, an underlying strength to her that I think this season is going to help explore, maybe bring to the surface, and kind of make her a more confident, competent member of the JSA. Will that have to do with Dr. Midnight, who we know is alive? Basically, he said he's in the shadow land, shadow realm. Is he going to be the one to kind of further train, further hone Beth's skills? He's going to give her maybe tech and resources to kind of be a better Dr. Midnight. In the end, remains to be seen with how that's going to play out, but I like where it's going with her. It kind of gives her something to do, something with meat. Emotional meat, since she's not at a point where she can do stuff with physical meat just yet. So I like that. We find out that the goggles are important because they can actually help a person see through the Eclipso's vision. So that was cool. And then kind of seeing Beth's parents come and talk to her when she's like, she's unsure about who she is or who she's trying to be versus kind of what other people are saying to her, other people being Eclipso, but maybe some other factors too about out in the world, kind of challenging this person that she feels she wants to be. So she got some words of encouragement from her mom and her experiences about just kind of staying strong in the midst of stuff like that. Doesn't exactly, her parents are probably still getting divorced, but it is what it is. But it was nice to see them kind of actually care about her. And not just be so aloof and just so distant and distracted by everything else, and just not really care about what's going on, not noticing what's going on with their kids. So that was nice to see. Like I said, it was a good episode. There was some action stuff with Solomon Grundy and Hour Man. Again, CG was kind of iffy, but there was still a lot going on, even in the slow burn aspect of this episode, and kind of the damage that Eclipso is doing to this team, has done to this team, because Yolanda's out, Rick is out. Who's left except for like Beth? I think she's got more reassurance, more confidence, more of an urge to kind of stick things out. And then you have Courtney. So it remains to be seen kind of how things go from here, how they pick up the pieces to finally circle back around and come together to deal with Eclipso. We know in this next episode, we're gonna kind of get a flashback, and we're gonna deal with the fallout of Eclipso killing Dr. Midnight's daughter. So that'll be interesting to see, and just kind of see the old timers in action, the old OG JSA. I'm so excited to see that, to see more of Wildcat, more of Hour Man, to see the salt of the earth himself, John Wesley Shipp, as Jay Garrick. In the JSA Jay Garrick. So I'm stupid stoked to see that, see how that plays out. Episode airs tonight. Cannot wait to see it. Oh, I'm so excited. One of these days I'll get to a convention. Hopefully I'll meet John Wesley Shipp. Because the dude is just great. He's just, the way he started off on The Flash in the 90s and then continued on The Flash on the CW, and how he's kind of just been this character over this, 30 years of time. I mean, not the whole 30 years, of course, but just that he's been willing and having fun with and enjoying and really doing a good job at this character, the different iterations of this character. Just love that. That's a cool thing to have, So I can't wait to see him come back. Remains to be seen again how we see how Eclipso affects the past, how he's been affecting the present, and just how things go in the future. And then we got a stinger at the end that showed Mike and Barbara at home. Mike called Barbara mom. It was a nice tender moment. And then some ice formed on the window. So is Icicle still out there? I mean, he got shattered, but I mean, there's moisture in the atmosphere. So are we gonna find out he just actually got shattered and he's been spending all this time trying to pull himself back together? You know, Mike is the one that ran him down. So is that why the ice appeared at the house? Is Icicle going to come back in another episode where Mike is like a Mike-focused episode outside of like the Thunderbolt one? Maybe this will be a second Mike episode that further deals with his feelings over hitting Icicle with the car, and is Icicle going to come back and try to get revenge or this or that? Who knows? But is that kind of foreshadowing that happening? Remains to be seen. But in all, this was a good episode from a great show. Things continue. This is such a stark contrast from Titans, which Titans is down here because it sucks so much. Wasted potential. Stargirl, so much potential that they're seeing and they're utilizing, and they just keep going up. Titans just going down. Just, it's interesting just how they can get it so right and get it so wrong. But anyway, those are some of my thoughts on it, scattered as they often are. What do you guys out there think? Let me know in the comments below. Follow me, social media, talk to me there, talk to me here. Till next time, let us geek.